All right, people, what is going on? What is going on? This is episode number 282. 282 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and over here we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. Today we're going to talk about Atlanta Falcons football as far as the draft. Now, we talked about free agency last time. We touched on the Atlanta Falcons, and we're going to talk a little bit about the draft because Scott Bair, for AtlantaFalcons.com, he's the Atlanta Falcons digital managing editor, put out a pretty, respectable, in my opinion, NFL mock draft for the first round. And I don't really follow too many mock drafts because I think they're kind of weird. But going over his draft, his mock draft, I actually, see where he was going, and a lot of it made sense. And one thing that I'm going to take away from it, I'm going to discuss today on this show, because one major thing I want to touch on, but obviously with the whole situation with our number 8 pick, is kind of like a no-brainer, but like I said, there's something major I want to talk about that. So welcome to the First and Frame Rate Show. I'm VF Baller over here. Like I said, Georgia Southern, Atlanta Falcons. If this is your first time here, go ahead and hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. If you're on the podcast side of things, go ahead and give me a high star rating on that star chart. Also, subscribe over there as well, because when you subscribe, you'll get a notification as soon as I upload a new episode, and you will be able to automatically download the episode if you choose. I think it's a toggle on most of these podcast apps that you can do so. It'll automatically download for you, so you don't even have to worry about it. It'll be right there ready for you to listen. Also, I'm gonna double back. The guys that are on the YouTube side of things, hit that notification bell. You'll get notified as well once I put up a video. All right, and one more thing before I get started. If you want to, I've seen a lot of people give me a good bit of feedback on this. If you want to donate, the link will be down in the description. If you want to donate through Anchor or on Cash App, the Cash App, my Cash App link is VFBaller20. So if you want to check that out and give a small donation to keep this up and running, that'd be great. It's totally optional, but it will be definitely appreciated. Either way, we're going to keep this ball rolling, and let's go ahead and get into this. The Atlanta Falcons are drafting at number 8, and like I said, Scott Bair at AtlantaFalcons.com did a really good job at doing a mock draft. And I know this is mock draft 1.0, things could change, and this draft does not have any trades or anything in it, which kind of makes sense. Usually the first mock draft don't really have any trades. It's just based on what slot that the teams are in to actually pick a player. So we're going to go through pretty much every draft pick that is going, the first 32 picks that Mr. Scott Bair put down here. And we're going to evaluate most of them. I'm not really going to touch on every pick because, this mostly I like to talk about the Falcons. And I want to give you my take on a few picks that could affect what the Falcons are doing. Also, I want to definitely talk about the number 8 pick. So let's go ahead and scroll down and start looking at this. Like he said that Alabama, Evan Neal goes number 1 to the Jaguars. Now, if you know from what I was talking about before, Evan Neal was the pick for me personally. It basically went like this: Evan Neal, Nakobe Dean, Derek Stingley. That's basically how it was for me, because I'm a big Nakobe Dean fan. I would love to see him in a Falcons uniform, but we do need protection on the offensive line. I don't care what anybody says. That, to me, that's the main priority. I know a lot of people look at all these other players, all these athletes, all these other people that can actually play, do a pretty good job, and I'm here for it. I totally understand, and I don't think you're necessarily wrong if you feel that way. But I feel like protection of the offensive line comes first. You need that in the trenches. It doesn't matter. Even if you go defensive line, I get it, because the trenches matter. If you can break through an offensive line against any team, you can have the upper hand throughout the entire season. I get it. But Evan Neal just looks like that guy, and looks like, based on this, it looks like the Jacksonville Jaguars are probably going to pick him up. I do get it. I don't know their status or their situation with the offensive line, But I will say that Trevor Lawrence would benefit from a guy like this. So it's not even a no-brainer. You know, James Robinson, the running back, would definitely benefit from a guy like this. So I'm not against it. So that's cool. Now, number 2, Aiden Hutchinson. This was the 4th guy I would probably pick because we do need pass rush. So like I said, for the Falcons, it was Evan Neal, Nakobe Dean, Derek Stingley, then Aiden Hutchinson. Those are my 4. I mean, I never had like a top 5 or anything, but those are the 4 guys that I would have really, look at. Aiden Hutchinson is probably going to end up going to the Detroit Lions based on this mock draft. I'm not against this as well, but we're going to miss out on an edge rusher, so therefore it's going to be an issue there where we're not going to be able to get him because Aiden Hutchinson is definitely a really good talent. A lot of people give him a lot of slack, but I think he's worth the pick. And for him to be close to his college or whatever the case may be, I guess that works out for the most part. I saw a lot of guys. Shout out to Smitty Sports Machine. He was talking about this guy here, Kyle Hamilton at safety, and I'm not against this either. If Derek Stingley wasn't there, I could see where and Kyle Hamilton was available. I could see how the Falcons will pick him up. Him playing us alongside of Richie Grant. I get it. But I think he's too good to be sticking around. At number 3, I think this is somewhat of a high pick for a safety, but if he is good as advertised, the Texans is not going to be the Texans is not going to lose in this situation. Also, with Lovie Smith is a defensive-minded coach. He's the new coach of the Texans. I can see this possibly being the case. With the Texans needing a little bit of everything on their team, I would not be surprised if this is the case. And number 4, Kevon Thibodeau. Once again, shout out to, I think, Smitty once again. You guys need to check out his channel if you haven't already. Very good. I've been on his channel a couple times. I'll have the link of his channel in the description if you want to check out the YouTube channel. But if you, I think he talked about Kevon Thibodeau as well, another edge rusher that the Falcons could use. But unfortunately, it looks like a situation where the Jets may get him based on this mock draft as well. So, we're probably going to miss out on him as well. At number 5, Kimi Ekwonu, offensive tackle. I'm not trying to say that I just never really looked at him. I really didn't. So, I'm not against having an excellent, a really good offensive lineman. If the Falcons could have got to him, cool. But if not, he just wasn't on my radar. Same thing with Charles Cross for the for the Carolina Panthers. The Giants and the Panthers need offensive linemen. They do because you want to try to keep Jones upright, and I think Sam Darnold's going to be the starter again. I mean, you're gonna need somebody to keep these guys upright. So I'm not against those. Brian Ajabo from Michigan, another edge rusher playing on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. The New York Giants is at number 7. So once again, they got they're number 5 and number 7. So they're going to get 2 pretty good players back to back. So that's pretty cool. With another edge rusher, shout out to my guy from Georgia Southern. Oh goodness, I forgot his name that quick. Oh man. Raymond Johnson. Raymond Johnson. Goodness, I just had a brain fart at that. He'll be playing with one of our guys from Georgia Southern, Raymond Johnson. If this is the case, remember this is a mock draft, so that'll be cool. Not sure if they'll go this route, but hey, you never know. So that's another edge rusher that's going to be going off the board. I don't think he was necessarily on the Falcons' radar. Based on this mock draft, this guy is going to be drafted to the Falcons, Derek Stingley. This is what I am cool with this. I don't have a problem with this. Derek Stingley has played very well at LSU for the past couple of years. He looked like he could do a little bit better. He's a little rougher on the edges, but look, this is nothing new. A lot of cornerbacks come into the league with a lot of work that needs to be done, and it's not hard for them to adapt to the NFL level. AJ Terrell was one that when he first came in, everybody knew he was good, but he started off a little rough. He had to learn a little bit. A couple other guys that I've been watching, I know I'm a little biased, so I'm going to say it. Kendall Vildor, when he came out of Georgia Southern, 5th round pick, and he was a little rough around the edges, learning some things. He was very good at his technique, but he was still a little rough. Had to learn a little bit, and right now I think he's playing at a pretty good level for the Chicago Bears. Actually started a few games last year, so that's pretty cool to see. So when you're looking at guys like a Derek Stingley, this looked like a really good look for the Falcons. Have somebody on the other side of AJ Terrell. Not my number one pick, but considering the picks that I wanted are actually going to be going with Neal and Hutchinson. Well, which Hutchinson is behind Stingley. I can't remember, but no, Dean is still there. But with Hutchinson and Neal is still is gone. I can see them picking up another guy on the other side because the Atlanta Falcons needed a lot of help in the secondary. Played a little bit better than I thought they would because they didn't give up the big plays, but to have somebody on the other side of AJ Terrell could be very good for the Falcons going forward. But with this being said, I'm going to talk about how I feel about this number 8 pick going forward. Just give me a little bit longer. Kenny Pickett goes at number 9 to Denver. They need a quarterback, and I can see this. Because my thing is, Drew Lock, I like Drew Lock a lot. Don't get me wrong, I like him personally, but he just has not been able to, he hasn't been able to produce like I thought he would. So I'm going to see how this is going to work out for them. I'm going to watch this because this is going to be interesting because Drew Lock is still able to do some things, but with Kenny Pickett in the fold, I would not be surprised if Kenny Pickett will be, I'll be surprised if he will be the starter. Amar Garner, cornerback from Cincinnati. Now, this is a guy that I could see that the Falcons would have probably taken as well. If Garner or Stingley, you can interchange them, in my opinion, and it would not hurt the Falcons at all. So I think Garner is a pretty good pick for the Jets. They need help on defense. They need help a little bit everywhere. So with them having Kayvon Thibodeau and turn right back around to get Gardner, that'd be pretty cool. So this mock draft is looking all right. Like I said, this mock draft actually plays out pretty well. I can respect this draft because to an extent it makes sense. I haven't watched any other too many other mock drafts. I taken a look at them and I really didn't study them, but when I was watching this one, I felt like this was made a lot of sense. Matt Corral for going to the Washington Commanders. Playing in Mississippi, he did pretty good. I think he was the one that got hurt though. Playing at Ole Miss, I think he got hurt. So I don't know how this is gonna play out. I could be wrong. Mississippi, Ole Miss, yeah, I think he was the one that got hurt, but I don't know. I can see that because they need a quarterback as well. Andrew Booth, cornerback at Clemson. Clemson fell off the map, so I really didn't watch what Clemson can do. So I don't really know. Traylon Burks out of Arkansas, pretty good receiver. This is a receiver that the Falcons was like, I ain't gonna say the Falcons was, but people that are doing commentary on the Falcons was actually looking at. I could see this a really good pick for the Browns. I just don't know because they have other needs, but I could see it. I could see it happening because they lost OBJ. Tyler Lindenbaum, center from Iowa, going to Baltimore. I don't have a problem with that. Not much to say there. Devin Lloyd. Now, this is where I want to start talking. And I know right now there's no trades. But one name I haven't talked about yet is Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean has not been picked yet, which is highly surprising based on this mock draft. If this is the case, if things fall the way they do, the Falcons need to find a way to get back in the first round. And they need to go ahead and find a way to get Calvin Ridley, try to see if they can trade for him, even if they have to use Calvin Ridley in the third round or third round pick or something. Get back in the first round, preferably get one of these picks right here, 15 or 16, and get Nakobe Dean with this pick. I think that'd be phenomenal if they do that. I don't know how, the front office is doing at all, honestly, but if the Falcons going to get, if the Eagles going to draft Drake London out of USC at 16, why not go ahead and get Calvin Ridley? You're going to get your receiver, experienced receiver, still young, and you'll get a third round pick on top of that. I'm just putting that out there. They could probably get a third round pick as well. And we can move up to 16 and get Nakobe Dean. This is where I feel this is the big deal that I have right here. Falcons can move back in the first round, get who they need. Or hell, even if they have to use the Julio Jones pick, the second pick in the second round to move up. To move. I think it's worth it, to be honest. If they can move one of the, I ain't gonna say the second round, but the second round pick that they have, move him, package him with Calvin Ridley, or that third round pick, package that together, move up to the front to the first, get Nakobe Dean, they get their receiver, all as well. Plus, they'll probably get another pick as well. So the Eagles, I think, is a win-win. And I think this is what the Falcons need, because a guy like, you get Derek Stingley, you turn right around and get Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean can do a little bit of everything. He can play linebacker. I don't know if he can play edge rusher, but he can attack the quarterback. He can play in coverage. He can do a little bit of everything. So that's where I come in at and be like, okay, this should be done. I would like to see this done, and that's the move. Now, like I said, this mock draft is not necessarily official, obviously, but when you're looking at these, the situation, and none of these have trades in it, but if you do get a trade, this is where you want to make it at. Because Nakobe Dean, based on this draft, I think he's going to continue to fall. But I think he's worth that pick. I think he's worth moving up to get. 17, offensive tackle from Northern Iowa, Trevor Penning will go to the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm okay with that. Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State. This is a really good pick for the Saints, even though I hate to admit it. This is a pretty good pick for the Saints, which I kind of think that they do need help all over the place. This right here will tell you that the whole situation with Michael Thomas is not as kosher as you would think. I think it's a decent pick, but they do need a quarterback. But I don't know. The Saints just going to continue to keep falling, but I think this is a solid pick for the Saints. But at the end of the day, it won't get them anywhere, in my opinion. Philadelphia, George Karlaftis, I think that's what it says, an edge rusher out of Purdue. It's look at this. Philadelphia got 3 first-round picks. This is another one. They can go ahead and move up and get, the Falcons can move up. They really need to talk to the Eagles, in my opinion. But out of all 3 of these picks, for them to get, Devin Lloyd out of Utah, Devin Lloyd is really good. I think this guy, nobody really talks about him, and I apologize for looking over him at 15. He has turned into something really special this season. He's going to be pretty good in the NFL. But to get down here to get another edge rusher from Purdue, that'll be pretty decent to see how that plays out. Travon Walker, this is where some of the Georgia guys are going to start going based on this draft. Travon Walker out of Georgia going to Pittsburgh. I'm still surprised Nakobe Dean is not the first Georgia defensive guy taken, but that's another, I am really biased. But a lot of people thinking that Pittsburgh will take a quarterback here. I'm gonna be honest. I think Pittsburgh is gonna try to get a quarterback in free agency. So, but at the same time, they're gonna get the defensive lineman Travon Walker. I'm okay with that. New England Patriots pick up Jordan Davis. I'm definitely not surprised at this. I'm not surprised at this. This right here is so. This is so New England Patriots. So I'm not surprised at that. Chris Olave going to the Raiders. I thought that he was going to be going a little bit earlier, but for him to go to the Raiders, that'd be pretty cool for the Las Vegas Raiders. Another weapon for what's his name, Carr to throw to. That'd be pretty cool. And then Josh McDaniels is their coach, so that that is going to be really interesting. Trent McDuffie out of Washington. Shout out to our defensive coordinator at Georgia Southern. He pretty much coached this guy up. So good to see a Washington cornerback go to the NFL once again. And this is it right here. Nakobe Dean going to Dallas. Now I think honestly, this is not just a Nakobe Dean thing. I think this is where this mock draft kind of goes wrong a little bit. I don't see Nakobe Dean going to Dallas. I just don't. I see Dallas probably trying to get another cornerback, where you see at Buffalo, the Kyler Gordon thing. I could see this a situation where Dallas gets one of these Washington cornerbacks. Nakobe Dean, I get it. With him and Micah Parsons together, that will be something serious. But I don't see Dallas picking Nakobe Dean here. Nevertheless, even though Nakobe Dean is possibly going to fall this far, it's another reason why the Falcons should try to jump back in the first round and try to get Nakobe Dean. But I personally think that the Dallas Cowboys will probably get a cornerback because they really need another cornerback to play on the other side of Diggs. That'd be something really interesting to see. Kyler Gordon got them going from Buffalo, from Washington going to Buffalo. Another cornerback. These two, McDuffie and Gordon, was trained or was coached by our defensive coordinator at Georgia Southern. So that's awesome. Keon Green, offensive guard at Texas A&M, going to Tennessee. This is like a situation they're going to get the best player available. So I don't have much to say there. Jahan Dotson out of Penn State going to Tampa Bay. Yeah, I can see that because Chris Godwin could be gone. Could be moved away from free agency. So I can see that happening. So that'll be a replacement for Chris Godwin. I can see that. Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia. That's another defensive lineman that's going from Georgia, going to Green Bay. Just bolster up the defense. I definitely see that. I'm not against that. Nothing to say there. Bernard Raymond going to Miami. Yeah, I can see that because they do need offensive lineman help. They do. So I can see that happening. Nothing to really say there. Fairly solid pick. Jameson Williams going from Alabama to Kansas City. Do they need more people at the wide receiver position? Hey, my baby. What's up, baby? My son is here, everybody. What you need, baby? You want to say hello to everybody?
It's a big daddy.
Yeah, that's daddy. Yeah. What you doing with this pull-up? You don't need this pull-up right now. You always carrying that pull-up.
It's a big daddy.
Yeah, that's daddy. Well, let's continue because we're almost done. Why do Kansas City need more firepower? Honestly, do they really need more people like this? Like, that'd be awesome though. Coming back from a knee injury.
Kenneth.
Yeah, that's Kenneth. Yeah, that's you, Kenneth.
Hi.
With that being said, they don't need him to play right away. So that is awesome. That'll be a really good spot for Williamson and Kansas City because if he comes back in the middle of the year around playoff time, Kansas City's gonna probably be right back in the AFC Championship game. Cincinnati is playing it very cool, going to get another offensive tackle from Minnesota, Daniel Falale. Like I said, this guy, I remember watching him when he played against Georgia Southern. At 6'9", 380 pounds. At one point, he was at 400 pounds. I mean, look, this is a really good look for Cincinnati. You can't help but to get a big, strong offensive tackle to continue to just give your quarterback protection. Nothing bad about that there. So I'm trying to think, is there any other needs that the Bengals need? Not really, because their offensive line just been, giving up quarterback sacks like all throughout the playoffs. So be careful. They may do that again in the playoffs. I mean, in the Super Bowl. So, and finally, number 32, we got Daxton Hill from Michigan. With them already getting possibly Aiden Hutchinson with Daxton Hill, that getting two guys from Michigan, a couple of teammates going to be playing together in Detroit. Detroit got an uphill battle, man. There's just something about Detroit they can't get out of their way. It's just, I don't know. They can't win games. I don't get it. But let's see how that goes. I don't see a problem with any one of these picks. But we'll see. We'll see. So there's also a possibility that, like Scott Bair said, they could see the Lions trading this pick. So you just never know. Well, that's pretty much it for this episode. We pretty much looked at the mock draft. Shout out to Scott Bair at AtlantaFalcons.com. I think he did a pretty good job of putting this draft together, this mock draft together. Unlike some other people that are on the letter networks, some of those drafts to me are like really, really, I ain't gonna say they're really off, but they just don't seem like they make sense to me for the most. And I know I could be a little biased because I'm looking at AtlantaFalcons.com, but I will say that if this mock draft wasn't on point, and if I can't get along with it, I probably wouldn't be following up with it. I probably wouldn't be talking about it. Like I said, this is one of the drafts that actually made sense. There's a couple of moves I did not like. I don't too much care for the getting a receiver at 16 for the Eagles. I think they should trade out of that. And also, I don't like the Nakobe Dean falling that far. I think Nakobe Dean is the top 10 pick, in my opinion. But you never know. Players do fall every year. It's always that one player that falls every year. And he could be the one. Nevertheless, if he does, the Falcons need to find a way to get back into the draft, into the first round and try to get him. I think he would be a phenomenal fit for what Dean Pease and company are trying to do. So that's my opinion about that. And that will conclude the rest of this episode. If you guys enjoyed this episode, I want you to hit that like button. If you're on the YouTube side of things, give me a high star rating on that star chart. On the podcast side, share this podcast, share this video, subscribe to the avenues of podcasts and or the YouTube side of things. That will be really awesome and phenomenal for you guys to continue to support. Also, if you want to support either through a monthly donation or a one-time donation, the link is down in the description. All through the Anchor link or the Cash App link, that I really would appreciate it. Like I said, this is a one-man show, and I do everything here, not to beat my chest or whatever, but I try my best to give you guys all the best. I try my best to give you the best content possible, and I try to make sense of it all. So I really thank you guys for your time. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I'm going to get out of here. My son is up. I'm going to hang out with him before he goes to daycare, and I'm just going to try to get things together for the rest of this day. I thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I see you guys on the next one. You guys be easy. You guys be blessed. All right, y'all. Peace.